There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird, weird.
Snow White was supposed to be Rachel Zegler's biggest role yet, but now it looks like everything is falling apart. With massive backlash from fans and critics, the controversy has spiraled out of control, and now, new rumors suggest that Disney officially fired her. So, what went wrong? How did Rachel go from a rising star to the center of one of Disney's biggest disasters? And if she is out, what does this mean for the future of Snow White? Join us as we uncover the shocking details that changes everything. When Disney announced Rachel Zegler as the new Snow White in 2021, the internet erupted. Some fans were excited about the West Side Story star taking on the iconic role, praising Disney for making a bold, diverse casting choice. But not everyone shared that enthusiasm. A huge portion of the audience felt Disney was straying too far from the character's original look and heritage. The backlash wasn't just about her appearance. Some fans argued that casting Rachel felt like Disney was prioritizing a statement over staying true to the original film. Others saw it as yet another attempt by Hollywood to push forced diversity into beloved classics.
Hello, Disney. You're going to have to redo your film again because this woman is a pig and you fired Gina Carano for far less than this nonsense.
Social media became a battleground, with people debating whether it even mattered if Snow White looked the same as she did in 1937. Despite the criticism, Disney stood firm. They praised Rachel as an incredible actress and insisted that their version of Snow White would be a fresh, modernized take on the beloved story. But even before filming began, one thing was clear. Rachel wasn't stepping into this role with universal support. At first, she seemed unfazed by the negativity. She responded to critics with humor, even making lighthearted jokes about not looking like Snow White. But as the controversy grew, so did the scrutiny on everything she said about the movie. And unfortunately for Rachel, some of her comments only made things worse.
I know that you've told me before that your version of Snow White is different and it's more of a 2022 version of Snow White. What did you mean by that?
I mean, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so.
What she said about the original film completely changed how many people saw her, and some fans felt downright betrayed. In multiple interviews, she didn't just discuss Snow White, she criticized it. Rachel called the original 1937 movie weird and outdated, saying that Snow White wasn't a good role model for modern audiences. She dismissed the classic romance, saying, "She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love." For longtime Disney fans, this was a slap in the face. Many felt she was disrespecting the very film that made her role possible. It didn't help that her tone came across as dismissive, as if she looked down on the original. People started accusing her of taking the job just for the paycheck while mocking the story that audiences loved for decades.
You guys, Disney's new live-action remake of Snow White debuted this weekend, and it's an even bigger dud than anticipated.
To make things worse, clips of Rachel discussing the film started going viral, and not in a good way. In some of them, she seemed bored or even annoyed when talking about the movie. As backlash mounted, fans began calling for Snow White to be boycotted. Hashtags like "Not My Snow White" started trending. Suddenly, the conversation wasn't about diversity anymore. It was about attitude. But just when things seemed like they couldn't get any worse, leaked set photos surfaced, and what they revealed had everyone talking. As if the backlash over Rachel's comments wasn't bad enough, Disney's Snow White remake hit another major roadblock: its production. Leaked set photos sent the internet into a frenzy, revealing huge changes to the classic story. And fans? They weren't happy. The biggest shock? The 7 dwarfs were gone. Instead, they were replaced with a random group of characters of different heights, genders, and ethnicities. Some fans called it a woke reimagining, while others just thought it looked ridiculous.
Controversy has swirled around Gal Gadot's new movie, also starring Rachel Zegler as Snow White. A lot of people don't like her. A lot of people don't like her either. She's got a big mouth. She talked trash about the original movie.
But it wasn't just the dwarfs that had changed. Disney was also changing the entire tone of the story. Reports suggested that the new Snow White would focus more on female empowerment and less on romance. While some fans were open to an updated version, others felt like Disney was gutting the heart of the classic. Behind the scenes, things weren't going smoothly either. Rumors spread that Disney officials were panicking over the growing backlash. Suddenly, fans started speculating. Was Disney trying to distance itself from the project? Would they actually consider replacing Rachel Zegler before the film even hit theaters? And then, the most shocking rumors of all started circulating. Was Disney firing Rachel behind the scenes? Whispers of Rachel Zegler being fired from Snow White started spreading across social media, and fans immediately latched on to the idea. Some people wanted it to be true, while others refused to believe Disney would make such a drastic move.
Neither of them make any sense for their roles. We've already covered how Rachel Zegler is a terrible choice for Snow White. Nothing about her says Snow White, and that's even leaving aside the fact that she openly detests the story, as she's said many times during this disastrous PR campaign. But Gal Gadot, who plays the Queen, the first problem is that she's the evil queen. The evil queen is supposed to be envious of Snow White's beauty, and that is just not believable. It is just not, even in a movie with magical mirrors and dwarves and all that, in a fairy tale, that strains my ability to suspend disbelief. I cannot buy that Gal Gadot is angry that she's not as beautiful as Rachel Zegler. I cannot buy that.
But as more details emerged, the rumors only got stronger, with the backlash reaching a boiling point and rumors swirling that Rachel Zegler may have been quietly fired. The biggest question now is, what is Disney's next move? Are they really going to replace her? Or is this just another case of internet speculation running wild? But there's one more huge factor to consider. If Disney does replace Rachel, who would they even cast? Finding a new Snow White this late in the game would be a nightmare for production, especially since the film is supposedly already finished. No matter what happens, one thing is clear. This controversy isn't going away anytime soon, and it's not just Disney's reputation at stake. This could change Rachel Zegler's entire career. Some fans are already turning against her, saying she comes across as ungrateful or out of touch. Others feel she's been unfairly targeted and that the backlash has gotten way out of hand. Either way, there's no denying that her public image has completely changed since the Snow White controversy exploded.
This is someone who is as entitled as, I don't need your business. You know what? Maybe Disney does. Maybe you're a tool, you're a pawn in this film. You didn't write it, you didn't direct it. You have nothing to do with the creation of Snow White. Right. You should shut up and do the job.
And to everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her.
Oh my God.
And I can only hope.
What does that mean?
That despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
Now for Disney, as you probably remember, all of this publicity, the Zegler interviews, the Daily Mail leak, caused a lot of unexpected, for them anyway, pre-production problems. People weren't supposed to see and understand just how unwatchable the new Snow White was going to be. It was supposed to be, kind of a surprise, but now there was no hiding it.
It's just a total nightmare for the studios. So now she's trying to sell like, oh, I love Snow White. I love everything about the whole story. Here she is more recently trying to change the messaging. This is actually Wednesday.
But these guys at Disney, they're not that bright. They're not that smart. And we see that because they can't come up with any new IP. Why not write some new movies? You guys sit around, you have billions of dollars. They keep going back and rewriting the classic.
But you're going to hire little people to play the dwarfs? That just seems like a step backwards. And then, of course, Disney instantly buckled and said, okay, we're going to add magical creatures. And then the picture of the magical creatures leaked online and everyone just had an absolute blast laughing at it. So the magical creatures are here in the movie. The CGI dwarfs are here in the movie. It works to a degree, but it's certainly going to be a financial hit for Disney, that's for sure.
So just how bad? The movie debuted in the United States at #1 with $43 million. Decent, but not a blockbuster. And far below projections. Internationally, a similar story. Overseas, Snow White took in $44.3 million in its opening weekend, bringing the total to just $87.3 million, with a budget of around $209 million. That means Snow White is destined to be one of the biggest bombs in Disney history. It will not recoup.
So much for being here, and to see this is really emotional for me, so I'm going to try to not do that. I love her, and her superpower is her heart. It's nothing supernatural. It's something that all of us have. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy Snow White. Thank you, guys.
This is truly like She has to go. I'm sorry, Disney. She has to go.
Because Rachel Zegler is a PR nightmare.
I think it's fair to say that no one can stand the star of this movie.
Now you have Rachel Zegler saying, oh, that 1937 movie, that's just, oh, it's tacky, it's weird, we're going to change all that.
But this truly is the worst casting, maybe in the history of the film industry. Has there been a film with worse casting than this? And I don't just mean the Snow White actress. Obviously, she's terrible, but both of them.
Studio, if you're a director, if you're a casting director, you've got to think twice or three times before hiring her. Listen, she's talented, she's attractive, she's got skill, but there are a lot of actresses in Hollywood who bring all that to the table and are not going to absolutely sabotage your work.
At the end of the day, Rachel's future and the future of Snow White hangs in the balance. Will Disney make a last-minute decision to replace her? Or are they hoping people will just forget about all this by 2025? What do you think? Should Disney fire Rachel Zegler and recast Snow White? If that could be true, who would you like to see as the next Snow White? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you like the video, don't forget to like and subscribe for further updates.